Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you are all doing very, very well. We are here for the live call-in show, the live phone-in show, and we will be talking all things Chelsea. Not to mention, you can't not laugh at Man United. So let's just take this moment to appreciate Man United are in the mud. Erik ten Hag's been sacked. It's all they're linked with Gareth Southgate. But we won't touch on that for too long. Maybe later on. For now, it's all the latest Chelsea news. We're going to be speaking about the game. I'm going to put the link out in the chat. If you want to join me, you are absolutely welcome to join. The link is going to be in the chat now. I've just put it in there. Big up to everyone that's watching. Let's see if we can get up to 30 likes on YouTube straight off the back. Can we get 30 thumbs up in the chat? Let me know how many likes are on as well. If you haven't already subscribed, you know what to do. Smash that like button as well. And yeah, we're going to get into everything regarding the Newcastle game. We're going to talk about Cole Palmer, the goalkeeping situation. Is our defense as solid as we really think it is? Is there something that needs to change there as well? Reece James at left back as well as the midfield. Do you start Enzo? Do you start Lavia? What about Caicedo? Let's not forget to mention him as well as the wingers up top with Neto, Madueke, no Jadon Sancho for this one, and Nicholas Jackson up top. Another day, another goal. What will it take for Nkunku to get minutes at Chelsea Football Club? So we're going to talk about all of those things here. Now, I just want to say, before I let people in, I've already sent the link out so you can actually join it, and then I'll let you in very, very shortly. It's really, really interesting when you look at what Maresca said after the game. There's a lot of comments that he made regarding the way we played, some of the players, and in terms of their individual performances, and just everything with that side. So there is actually, you'd think that after a win, we'd still agree with everything the manager says. But I wouldn't say that's the case. I would say, actually, even though we won, there are still parts of what Maresca's doing where questions can certainly be asked. I'm not saying I disagree with everything the guy's doing, but I think it's good to have a debate. And that's what we're here to do. So listen, I'm joined by CFC Kev to start off. How are you doing, my friend? Yeah, you can't hear me.
Can I hear you?
Oh, you can't hear me?
There's no sound.
Oh, that's nice. Let me see if CJ can hear me. How are we doing, CJ? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, you can hear me, but you can't hear me, Kev. Maybe try taking off your headphones and give it another go. I'll let you figure this one out in a second, all right? Let me know when you can hear me in the chat. Everyone in the chat, can you hear me as well? Just give me a thumbs up. But yeah, we're gonna try and get everything sorted on Kev's side. I've got a few technical issues. How's things with you, CJ? Everything's okay?
Not so bad, man. I think I had a great weekend. You know, we actually picked up 3 points. And then I wake up this morning to hear Ten Hag is gone. So kind of a bit of mixed emotions about that. But I think we should still be beating them regardless, though. But it's been good.
100%. 100%. It's a little bit quiet your end, CJ, just so you know. So I don't know if there's a mic that you speak into on your headphones or something. But yeah, that's just so you know. Can everyone hear CJ as well? Let us know, guys.
Because I got my headphones on, so I'm not sure if that's probably what's making you know, the volume a bit quiet. I don't know if you can hear me now.
You might just need to speak up a little bit. I mean, I can hear you, but it's just a little bit quiet.
Right.
That's all it is.
All right, I'll try to speak up then. I got you.
Cool. Well, listen, I don't know what's going on with Kev. He was in, but he couldn't hear a single word I was saying. So yeah, big up to Kev anyway. I'm sure he'll jump back in. CJ, listen, just me and you to start off. Talk to me. What did you think about what we saw?
So I think the performance was really, really good. I thought we could have been a bit more clinical in the first half, um, and even some parts in the second half. But you always got to remember Newcastle are not a scrubby team. They're a decent team, and they play pretty much some good football. So picking up the 3 points was impressive, but it got a bit hard. It got to a point where it felt like we might actually lose all 3 points. Good thing we did it. But I was impressed with Maresca. Again, as usual, right team. I'm surprised James played left back, though. I think that's kind of what got me off guard. But what a
Yeah,
performance
definitely.
it was. Captain's
I didn't expect that
performance.
either. Definitely
Yeah,
not.
I think, Maresca talking about he needed more leadership. And then James goes out and then he puts out that performance. I mean, you can't really ask for, a much better outcome. I think he's challenged Mudryk. Mudryk has looked a lot better. Challenged Colwell. It's looked better. Now it's looking like it might be James. And if James is playing like this, then we're good.
Fair enough. Jordan says Sanchez needs to be dropped next game after yesterday and give Jorgensen a game in the Premier League. He hasn't played a single game for Chelsea in the league yet. This is something we're definitely going to speak about. It will be interesting to see everyone's thoughts on this. Again, we've got the link in the chat, guys. So if you do want to jump on, you are more than welcome to do so. My overriding feeling from that game, I expected us to win. I definitely expected us to win. Not in a cocky way, but pound for pound, player for player. I think that we pretty much beat Newcastle all over the pitch. There's not one area that I think, Newcastle are better than us here. Everything that they have, I just think that we've got a little bit more. I mean, I guess you could probably argue the goalkeeping department, even though Pope has pretty poor distribution for Newcastle, and he's much worse technically than Robert Sanchez. I guess you could make an argument that maybe he's more reliable, but in terms of the back line, the midfield, up top, and we've got the Cole Palmer factor as well. There's just a little bit more. There's more to like about Chelsea, and I think that people need to appreciate that actually. And I'm one of those people who didn't think things were going to be amazing straight away. I did not want Maresca, but I did want him over the other choices. So I guess I was half happy that we got him in the end because I didn't want Ian McKenna, I didn't want De Zerbi, and I certainly didn't want Thomas Frank. So I was like, okay, if those are options, I'll take Maresca. But I don't think anyone expected us to have a manager who is, I guess the word is just competent, very, very competent. Everything that he does it's just great, isn't it? Everything he does is fantastic. And I'm a big fan of Maresca. Big fan. What do you make of what he did during the game, CJ, and also the way we started it off? I mean, we spoke about the performance generally. I mean, were you a bit confused when you saw the lineup?
Nah, I wasn't as confused because I think I automatically assumed Gusto was going to be the left back and Reece James was going to be the right back. But then to actually see the positions and James being the left back, I don't know how many times we've actually seen Reece playing left back at Chelsea. So it definitely was like a curveball. But then as the game progresses, you actually see, you know what, this is actually smart because you have, James having the option to be able to like open up the pitch on his right foot, switching the ball to either Noni, still being able to play, a Neto through because James has a good passing range on him. And I think we actually started this game off really well. I still don't know how Palmer's goal was called offside because it was margins. And I don't even know how well that line was drawn, but that's really how well we started this game. I think Neto starting at left wing actually caught me off guard as well because I suspected maybe a Sancho comes back into this team, but I can respect the manager trying to reward players for being good. Neto came in against Liverpool, looked like our most dangerous attacker, and then he also got the assist for this game. So I'm not too upset about the team selection right now, but it helps when we're winning, because if we were having very inconsistent performances, I think we would have been questioning, playing all these players out of position, because we did do that last year when we talked about Chilwell playing left wing. We saw Colwell playing left back, but I think the difference is we're playing well, we're picking up wins, we're getting the result. So when you see people like Reece James playing a left back, you're able to kind of just, you know what, I trust the manager to do what he wants to do, because he knows exactly what he's doing. We're winning. You've seen Neto play left wing, even though we know he's more effective and a bit more dangerous on the right. You don't
Would you
complain
say
about it
that?
too much. I'll say so, because I've watched Neto play at Wolves, you see him doing a lot more damage off the right, because the guy can cross a ball with his left or right foot. And you put him on the right, you give him the opportunity to cut in on his stronger foot and take a shot. He's got a good finish on him as well. So I think he's more dangerous on the right than the left. The left kind of seems more on the left. It seems like he can only do two things: go down the bar line, or maybe try to cut in and try to either shoot with his weaker right, which again doesn't necessarily work as well. So I'll argue his strongest position is on the right.
It's interesting because I mean, to be fair, I was in the same camp as you before we signed him, and then I spoke to Dazzling Dave, who is he runs Always for Wolves Fans TV, which is basically the largest Wolves fan channel. He obviously seen Neto play all the games at Wolves, and he said to me, "It was Alex. To be honest with you, he's just as good on the left," and that kind of opened my eyes. And we saw Neto pretty much play all of his games up until this point on the right. And he was okay. So I thought, okay, let's see the left. I mean, even against Liverpool, if I'm not wrong, when he came on, he swapped with Nkunku. He was interchanging. He was on the left side causing problems. But I thought he was decent. I thought he was great on the left. And to be fair, I mean, if you want to persist playing Madueke, then Neto for me is going to be playing on the left side instead of Sancho.
See, my thing is like Maresca himself clearly defined the positions and the roles these guys are going to play. Yes, of course, a coach is going to say, Mudryk is only going to play on the left, but there's going to be games where he's going to have to switch it up. But if I'm just going based on, if you look at the left, you have Sancho and Mudryk. Then on the right, you have Neto and Madueke. Now, I'll say Neto and Sancho particularly can play on both flanks a bit easier than the other guys we have. So if you want to play Neto on the left, I'm not going to complain, because his final ball is usually very good as well, either on the left or on the right. But I just want to see him, play more on the right, just to see the kind of balance we'll have on that side, see how much more dangerous he could be on that side. But when it comes to him, I really wouldn't complain.
I'm with
Honestly.
you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
A big up to everyone that's watching. We've got 108 of you at the moment. Let's see if we can get up to 50 likes on YouTube, guys. Smash the like button if you haven't already. I think, lots of when you win, it's hard to question what the manager does. But I do think still that you have to try and get the best out of each player individually. I mean, Enzo Fernandez is one that I'm going to probably end up talking about every week. And it was funny when we were in the pub after the game, you've got Matty arguing with people saying Enzo's not good enough. He says he's great. I think Enzo's a great player, for example. I actually would have started him in this game over Lavia, not because I think he's better than Lavia in that position, because I think in the away game, we need more defensive stability because Newcastle are going to come at us. But Maresca's pretty much going with this is the A team, this is the B team. And he's being stringent with it. I mean, do you have any problems with that? Or do you think that we need to be a bit more flexible in terms of our rotation?
Again, you can only go by the games you play. We play essentially one game a week. If we have conference league, then you have to make rotations. You can argue some of these guys who play in the B team, who do they really displace in the A team? You can look at maybe moving Palmer out wide and bringing someone like an Nkunku into the team, because more time than not, he's someone who can actually score you goals. But it's about the balance. And I think having either, Sancho on the left, Noni on the right, Palmer essentially just gives us a better balance. One thing we've always learned about Maresca even before he came in was he likes touchline wingers. So then with that scenario, you're looking at a Neto, Mudryk, Noni, and who else? I forget someone. Sancho. Exactly. So I don't know if you can really bring anyone from the B team into the A team. But again, I think even if he did, I think the levels would still be there. The consistency would probably still be there because I think everyone is buying into what he wants to do. And maybe there could be some Premier League games where you want to see, Felix start, with a Madueke and see how that balance will be. But I think right now it's all down to Maresca. And we cry out for consistency because we don't want to see the manager changing out the starting lineups every weekend because that's something we've had in the past. So then we can't really then be like, well, these guys are doing well, but we want to see these other guys come in. There's going to be times when people are going to be out of form, injuries are going to happen, and Felix, Nkunku's particularly will get some minutes, even with Enzo right now, because he's looking like he's going to be on the B team, to be honest with you. But other than that, I'm cool with just letting him ride out. Don't fix what's not broken. Is essentially what I think.
Yeah, that's my main concern. When people ask me what my predictions are, they say, "Why don't you think we're going to finish in the top 4?" Because I still think 5th right now. If I'm being totally honest, if we go into January and we've still not got the injury problems, I will change my opinion on that. But up until we get past the Christmas period, I just know. Well, we all know because what if Palmer gets injured? What happens if we lose Cucurella? What kind of an impact will Caicedo leaving the team? What kind of an impact will that have? And maybe that's me being pessimistic, but also these guys are so key. And it goes back to your point as well. Don't if it's not broken, don't fix it. That is why I guess the rotation works well because players do get a full week's rest. And yeah, they certainly need it. I mean, the way the fixtures are going to be this season, we're going to have the Club World Cup as well. I think Pep Guardiola complained that if they don't have an extension after or push the Premier League back, they're only going to have about, I think it's a week or 2 weeks before the Premier League actually starts, which is criminal. Obviously, the players can't go on holiday at that point. So actually managing the workload of these players, not bringing Lavia or Fofana or Palmer to the Conference League, all these little things will make a big difference. And this season we have that flexibility because we're not in the Champions League and we're in the Conference League. But really that will become more of a problem next season when, fingers crossed, we are in the Champions League. But as it stands right now, I think that we've got to use the Conference League to our advantage. Get minutes to the players who need them, and most importantly, rotate in a way that is sustainable and keeps players fit as well.
One of the biggest criticisms I think our ownership team got was the squad depth, right? Because you listen to rivals and they always want to pull out that graphic that had like 40-odd players on it. But it could be that these guys actually looked ahead of time and went, you know what? It's looking like there's going to be a lot of load management that is going to be needed. You're going to have to play in multiple competitions. You look at the Champions League, the format is different now. Europa League is different. It just looks like more games. So it doesn't hurt when you have a 25-man squad and you can completely rotate your first team out. Your second team comes in and still keeps the levels high. Because don't get it wrong, even our B team, because I think it's so disrespectful to call them the B team, but that's just the reality. You can play that team in a Premier League game against, I don't know, someone like, and no disrespect, a Southampton, and you expect that team to go out there and get 3 points. So I think a lot of these other teams who didn't strengthen as much or have smaller squads, they're probably going to feel the burn more. Because it's just now you always have to play your strongest players. You take Arsenal, for example. Saka's not available, or he has a 50-60% chance of being available. He's being played. Monier is not being trusted to play. right? But I think in our situation, you want to take Palmer out of the team, cool. You can bring in Felix. You can bring in Nkunku into that position. Hell, you can bring in a Chukwuemeka, or you could even play a Dewsbury Hall in that role.
Yeah.
It might not be to the same effect, but the difference is you have enough cover. So if someone is out for an extended period of time, you still get away with either some wins, maybe some draws, just avoid the losses. But it sucks that we're gonna have more games, Club World Cup, and like you said, they might not even be able to take a break, and these guys need it. They're humans. These ain't robots. Like even if you work an 8-hour shift, 9, 10, you got to turn off your computer before you go home. So just imagine the human factor of this. So I think it's a good thing that we have the big squad everybody's been talking about, which again we really don't. But you can plug in and fit in. Cucurella is not available. You play Vega. Hell, now we know Reece James can play that role. So you don't even have to overload these guys with so many minutes. So I think that's a good thing.
No, that's a very good point. Unlimited Dreamer, good to have you on, mate.
Things on mute.
I know. I was just going to let him speak, to be honest with you. You're on mute. You're on mute. Your sound's not working. Give it another go. Come off and then come back on. Right, Kev, is your sound working?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh my goodness! Hallelujah!
Can you hear me? Can you
What
hear
was that,
me?
Kev? What's that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I'm only taking the mic, Kev.
Oh, fucking hell. What? Bloody hell, bro. Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you? How are you, Alex?
I'm good. I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'll tell you what, we've been having a good conversation about sort of rotation and well, is it a good thing the way that Maresca's rotating, or does he need to be a little bit more flexible now we've got games coming thick and fast?
Rotation's key. Rotation's key, but you got to have your the structured 11. I think we've found that he's got his favorite 11. Let's say that he's keeping with, but at the same time, you have to rotate it to what game suits. Obviously, you're not going to stick with the same team for every game, just depending on tactics and what player suits which position best and which team coming up against. Like I thought Lavia especially would have been better playing yesterday than Enzo, and that's to stop their midfield. And Joelinton, was a very physical player, gets stuck in, gets the dirt right done, he can move forward very quickly with the ball. So I thought like with Lavia covering that defence was a better tactical decision than playing Enzo. Or just going into every game with a different tactical team. But on Wednesday, maybe we get to see different players starting. Obviously, Sancho and Mudryk never had many minutes yesterday, so maybe they get a start. Maybe Felix gets a start. Maybe Nkunku gets a start. So rotation is going to be key. We've got a big squad. We've got a lot of games coming into the Christmas period where it's going to be every single week, twice a week. Obviously, to stop injuries, you've got to give other players minutes. And I was surprised that James even started yesterday. I was surprised that James played 90 minutes, but goes to show that we've got that much depth that James hasn't been rushed back this year, and he's getting the minutes that he deserves. And he looked brilliant down that left, and when he came onto the right, he looked better. So it's good. It's good to have a lot of choices. It's good to have the depth, and it's clearly working because we've got no injuries. So something must be going right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Yeah, when you look at the lineup right now, obviously it was totally different to what we expected because we thought Gusto and James would be on the other side, and yeah, I think that was probably the main thing, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, for me, we're gonna go straight into it. Let's start off with the goalkeeper. Let's start off with Robert Sanchez. I mean, what do we think about Robert Sanchez, Unlimited Dreamer?
Oh my God! Can you hear me? Just to say,
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good then. Oh, Jesus Christ, Sanchez. You're a great shot stopper, but on the ball with the feet, oh my God, you gave me heart attack every time when I watched it. It was like heart attack after heart attack when you give the ball back to straight to a Newcastle player or kick it out for a throwing for Newcastle. I'm like, Jorgensen needs to be given a chance now because think about this. We've got United next, obviously, and also we've got Newcastle in the cup. If Jorgensen does really well against Newcastle in the cup, which I predict he should be playing in the cup,
yeah,
then you need to put him against United because Sanchez, I'm sorry, but you're a great shot stopper, but I feel like you're more like a cup goalkeeper now. That way you need to just do shot stopping, not trying to do that much, and then maybe January or next summer get a better ball playing goalkeeper that could challenge for the number 1 spot with Jorgensen.
Okay. What about you, CJ?
I think I've said this, about Sanchez time and time again. This guy, the reason he's in the team is because he knows how to play from the back and he has great distribution. And it's all a joke. It's non-existent. Like he just keeps kicking the ball out for throw-ins, kicking it back to the opposition. Like the reason you're in this team, what you're being called for, a ball-playing goalkeeper, you're not one of those. You're a decent shot stopper, but it's like to what extent do we just keep this guy and go? I think he's an awful goalkeeper, and if we don't make top 4, I think it's really down to Sanchez because yes, you make some saves, which as a goalkeeper, that's your job. Like that's your first priority. Save the balls from the net. So I'm not really going to like give you praise, even though there's gonna be times when you make a save out of this world, and I'm gonna be like, damn, you really saved this with that. But that's your first job. But if now all these other things, all these other elements you're supposed to bring into the game, you're not doing that. It's monotonous, like it's pointless. Because I think Sanchez puts our defense under a lot of pressure, like unnecessary pressure. Because when I watch Jorgensen, even though people wouldn't rate Jorgensen, there's just this calmness about Jorgensen that just exudes in the team. We had that with Petrovic last year. When Petrovic came in, it just felt like we remembered how to play football again. The defenders were calm. It just felt a lot more easy. And he made good saves as well. Yeah, Petro made some mistakes, but not to the extent of Sanchez. So I honestly hope Jorgensen played to midweek, and if he has a good game, listen, just play him against Man United. Even though I doubt Maresca's going to do that, but Sanchez ain't it. I'm sorry, he's not it.
Yeah, I mean, I was sat next to Don in that game, and he was just all over Sanchez the whole time. He hates him, he despises him, and this is before he even kicked a ball. To be fair, and so I know he's being consistent. And then when I was leaving the stadium, the first thing Charlie said to me was Sanchez, and I knew it wasn't going to be a positive thing.
Well, I said to you this before the game even started. I said this on Omley and yesterday morning that the guy needs to be dropped, bro. Like we are going to lose a lot of points with this guy in goal. We've got to lose a lot of points, a lot of goals. The defense, you can tell the defense are getting shaky. Defense, I think on a couple of occasions, the defenders are shaking their head because how poor his distribution was. The guy's kicking it across the floor through the middle of the pitch to the opposing player. And if it wasn't for VAR, that would have been a penalty to the other team. If Cole had to do it to stop him going through, but whose fault was that? The goalkeeper's yet again. There's the goal against Liverpool, yet again, his fault. So it's costing us. It's costing us already. The guy's got to be dropped. And if he's not dropped, if you don't get Champions League, it's on the manager's head. Like it's clear to see that Jorgensen needs an opportunity in goal because we cannot continue to see Sanchez have a stinker after stinker after stinker. He's continued it into last season, continued from last season into this season, having stinker after stinker. So where's the line here? The guy needs to be dropped. The guy needs to be sold and never to be seen in a Chelsea shirt again. Is that deep? Is that shit? I think I counted within 10 minutes 5 times that guy kicked the ball either into touch or kicked it to an opposing player or just looked nervous. And it's just that's in a 10-minute game. So imagine playing against a team which presses a lot of work, because Newcastle never really pressed us that much yesterday. So imagine if you're playing against a City or Arsenal, a team that's going to press your keeper, press your back four. We've seen it last year. Once there's a bit of pressure on him, he'll kick it to the other player. Declan Rice had a goal last year because Arsenal pressed us, and he literally just kicked it into an empty net. So what? He has not improved one bit. It's costing us now. So the guy has got to be dropped, and the guy cannot be seen in the Chelsea shirt again. Sell him, and let's move on from Robert Sanchez. He's fucking probably the worst keeper I've seen since fucking Mark Bosnich. If you ever heard the keeper called Mark Bosnich, he is fucking that level. A fucking keeper, bro.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he is fucking Mark Bosnich level, bro. And I'm talking Mark Bosnich is a keeper for us in the 90s. Yeah, before Alex is even born. That's how shit Sanchez is.
All right, mate.
I'm gonna say, just before Alex is born, but that's how shit the Sanchez geezer is. And the whole team collectively look okay, but it's only I see it as this: the football. You've got a car engine, yeah. You need all the components. Without a fucking what can I say? Without a clutch, you're not going to drive the car. Without a gearbox, you're not going to drive the car. Without spark plugs, all it takes is one part of that engine or the mechanisms of that car not to work, and the whole thing's fucked. And it seems that way with Sanchez. All it takes is one part, and that's the goalkeeper, and the whole team's fucked. And it seems that Sanchez, the back four don't seem the back four don't seem like they're confident with him when he's playing in that team. So he's got to go. Got to go.
To be fair, I like the reference on cars as well, because for those of you who don't know,
Mm.
Kev always has problems with his cars.
shut up, man.
How many cars have you got through, Kev, since I've met you?
Fucking. I sold one yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, I sold one yesterday. I get through cars like I get through fucking. What could I say? I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna be that
Yeah,
stupid.
don't dig that hard.
Yeah,
I know what you were
yeah.
gonna say.
I get through a lot of cars, but I understand that the components of the engine, you need everything to be working together. You know, once everything's working together, the engine's working smooth. And Sanchez is like having a car without a fucking spark plug. So the rest of the fucking engine's not going to work smoothly. So until we get a shot stopper, he can play comfortably at the back. That means the defense is going to be more comfortable. It's not rocket science. It's just how football works.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna say, like, it's like a simple thing, like everyone says. Not one, it can't be like one player that makes a team. It's like from back to front, everything needs to work. Like, obviously, from the front people need to get the ball to the goal and score. The midfielders, either it's their job to do really good defending, but also do really good to help the distribute the ball to the attack. Defense needs to be solid, needs to try and stop the ball from getting to the goal. And then here's Sanchez, where he is supposed to do his job, like obviously shot stopping, simple. You need to do that as a keeper. But also, when you added it now, is to distribution, distribute the ball out away from your goal and all that to the players. You don't do that. You give it to the opposition. I'm surprised, yeah, when like Sanchez passed the ball to one of the Newcastle players. I'm surprised none of them didn't take a shot long distance like Declan Rice just to make him panic. I was surprised about that because that moment when I saw Sanchez pass it to the Newcastle player, I was like, oh God, it's Declan Rice all over again. No, don't shoot, don't shoot. That's basically what my mind was at. You muted?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I think he's muted. I can't hear him. Can anyone else hear him?
Nah, not really.
Hello.
Should we just like hop out and hop back in? Because I don't know if you're speaking.
All right, then I'll leave and come back then.
Yeah, let's see.
Can you hear me, Alex? Hello? Not you.
Can you hear me, Kev?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I don't know what I don't know what happened there. I don't know.
Oh, you muted me for some reason, and I was like, "Hey, yeah."
Right, let's try that again, guys. I have no idea what just happened.
Okay. Can hear you now.
Everyone can hear each other now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's like I can hear everybody else, but I just couldn't hear you.
Oh, lovely! Isn't that great? I don't know what happened there. Fair enough. Well, Ahmed and CFC dies. If you want to come back in, you can. I genuinely don't know what happened there. But yeah, so we were talking about Sanchez. So, I mean, CJ, do you have any reaction to what Kev and Unlimited Dreamer have said on Sanchez? I know we've touched on him, and we will move on, guys. But I do think this is probably the one player that is a real split at the moment, or not even a split. It's just a negative topic because I think most people agree he's just not good enough.
Because I mean, even Maresca yesterday said when Sanchez stops doing what he's doing, then he gets dropped. So it's clear instructions. It's clear instructions from the manager. But I don't think the execution is what Maresca wants from Sanchez. I think it just comes down to an inability to carry out those instructions and execute. Because I'm sorry, kicking the ball for throw-ins, giving it back to the opponent. I know that's not what the manager's asking him to do. I just think, shot stopping, yes, he's decent at it, makes some really good saves at points. But I think it's him losing just that focus sometimes mid-game and making the wrong decisions that just have me perplexed sometimes. It's just, ultimately, I don't think it's good enough. Maybe for a top 6 side, but realistically, we're not that. We're a top 4 team competing for trophies, and I don't see Sanchez being the catalyst for us doing that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's interesting. Dylan says Sanchez only needs to work on his distribution, passing, commanding of the box, leadership, confidence, and goalkeeping improved. Then we will be fine. That is brutal.
You're asking a lot from him for all that. You're asking a lot now.
My goodness. CFC Dial, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
I don't know what happened. I thought to myself, is this guy just ignoring me? And it turns out nobody could hear me.
I wanted Alex, mate.
Typical stream, yeah.
Good to have you in it, man. First time on the stream, at least with me. I mean, what do you think about Robert Sanchez?
I think everyone said it, man. Like, not to labour it, but he's just not good enough, man. And I think until we address it, I mean, I think as the guys were saying, you can see the discomfort that happens to our back four when he's in the team, when he's on the ball. And I almost feel like he's the reason why, Fofana drops stinkers every now and then, because between the two of them, they just haven't got any chemistry. They don't know who's getting the ball when it's time to command it and whatnot. So I think we'll be better off as soon as we can upgrade on him. I can't see why we've got Petrovic. Well, we had Petrovic, we've got Jorgensen available. We've got all these other players, these other keepers that we bought, and we're having to stick with Sanchez. And what my fear is that Maresca is going to be quite stubborn in his approach. We've heard his comments after the game. He almost seems like he wants to prove us wrong a little bit, and he's going to continue to put his faith in Sanchez until it goes wrong. I just don't want that to be a detriment to Chelsea until he realizes, this guy's just not good enough. So, without labouring the point, he just isn't good enough. I don't know if it's a confidence issue or lack of games, or we know that he was third choice at Brighton, so maybe he just hasn't had this much responsibility on his shoulders before. But clearly he's just not at the level. So I think we just need to move on from him, or at least drop him.
Interesting.
I don't think it's confidence in Sanchez. It's just not good enough. Like, you're playing in a better team than last year, and there's been zero signs of improvement. So can you put it down to confidence? He's had 2 seasons as Chelsea's number 1. Maybe if he got dropped and came back in and he played shit, it'd be confidence. But when you're the number one and you don't putting up stinker after stinker after stinker, that's basically your ability. It's not there. That's who he is. There's no improving this guy. So if we continue to keep him as our number one, like I said, we dropped a point last week. No, we dropped 2 points last week because of him. No, okay. I think a draw would have been fair against Liverpool. So let's say we dropped a point against Liverpool. If that was a penalty, we could have dropped another 2 more yesterday. So that's 3 points we could have dropped if there's a space of width because of his distribution. So it gets to the point.
Did you see his tweet after the game as well when he was like, I know I've not had the best few games recently, and thanks. And it's like what annoys me with him as well. It's like, after every game where he drops a stinker, he comes out on Twitter or Instagram and he makes this post and it's apologetic to Chelsea fans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it, I understand it, but at the same time, just play better, man. There's only so many times we're going to continue to, be empathetic about these things, man. Like you're getting paid massive money, what I'm saying? You're keeping out other keepers that are desperate to get starts. So all of this kind of apologetic, I'll do better next week. It's just like to get on my nerves.
No, we've heard it too long, nights. I don't even follow these people. I don't even follow them on social media because I couldn't care what they're fucking doing. As long as they come and play properly for Chelsea, that's all I'm concerned about. And when I watched that game yesterday, I within a 10-minute period, that guy was kicking the ball here, there, and there. He was giving away silly opportunities for the opposing team to get onto us. So it's time's done now. Like if we continue to keep having this conversation about Sanchez, we are going to be fucked. We're going to fall out that top four. You know what I'm saying?
God.
No mistakes today, I promise. This is this can't be his real account.
Nah, that's not his real account.
I'm just gonna quickly say about this is like if you look from last season, all the players, that weren't in their actual good form, except for Palmer. Palmer's just a different level. All the other players, like Caicedo wasn't himself. Madueke was getting there. He was. And like the defense, I will say it ain't great, but it has improved from last season. And like this is the thing. Every player here, whatever you could think of, except for Neto, like Lavia, and obviously Reece James, he was injured. But most of this squad has improved, but it feels like Sanchez has just either gone backwards and going back even further, or he's just like, I'm just the same person as last season.
I wouldn't say he's gone backwards. I think that I think his goalkeeping ability in terms of shot stopping has actually improved massively. I don't see him making silly mistakes in terms of making saves. I think that's really improved.
Well, yeah.
His distribution was always poor.
Right? Sorry, I was just saying in general, it's that I feel like Sanchez is just going back to that part where he is just not like new manager yet. It's like new manager, improvement. Just keep improving. Don't show your old self from last season. But it's like I thought that kind of thing. If there was a new manager, you would think like, oh, he's trusting in me. He believes in me. I can improve. I'll improve myself, get better, and show these fans that Maresca is right to trust me. But he's not showing that. He's not showing the trust that Enzo trusts him to basically prove to us that he should be our number one. At this point, I feel like everyone's going to be shouting, bring back Petrovic in January or give Jorgensen chances, which we are asking for Jorgensen to be given a chance. And if that doesn't work, bring back Petrovic. He was actually really decent when he was at our number one at that last season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, isn't it? Brighton dumped him for the exact same reasons. He's under fire now. His distribution was worse than Steele's, and he made silly mistakes. He was a marginal improvement over Kepa, honestly. I mean, I hated Kepa. And to be fair, Sanchez is a better shot stopper than Kepa was. But Kepa had better distribution.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, Kepa, his distribution was still average, but like he didn't do stupid passes. He just messed it up a couple of. But I mean, Sanchez doesn't think at times. Listen, guys, we're going to move on because otherwise we're just going to speak about Sanchez the whole time. So let's go. Let's start with the left side with Reece James. I mean, what do we think about Reece James? First of all, coming back and playing 90 minutes but also playing 90 minutes as a left back instead of what we all thought, which would have been on the right side. I'll start with you, CJ.
I think I mentioned earlier, it was definitely an interesting. It was just weird. Just seeing James being on the left. It's not that I didn't think he could do it. It was just, yeah, this is definitely new. But like I've said, when you are in a rich vein of form, and it looks like a lot of the decisions this manager's making, you see a clear improvement. There's clear instructions for whoever's playing whatever role. I just kind of just let it rock because I was just, at the end of the day, I wanted the 3 points, play well, Lavia James, stay fit, play 60, 70 minutes, and we're cool. And he really played that role to perfection. I mean, Reece James as our permanent left back option, shit, I'm all for it, but not really. I just think it just shows us that the manager likes players who are very versatile, and you can carry out different instructions, play in different roles, and I think he's trying to coach that into some of these guys. So maybe back in the day we wouldn't have thought were just flexible tactically. So it's nice to see.
I'm with you. Dial, I mean, do you agree with what this guy, Spanish Inquisition, saying? He thought Gusto was going to be in trouble with James. Maresca seems to rate both over Cucurella. Is that a fair point?
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, yeah, I wouldn't go as far as saying he rates them both over Cucurella, because I think he's a bit like, I think Maresca's a bit like all the Chelsea fans. Like, I think we love Cucu. He's shown that he's quality, and I think he's probably one of our most important players this season and last season. So I wouldn't go as far as to say he prefers him over the two of them. But yeah, I think that guy just mentioned, man, he obviously likes the versatility, and it's a dream come true for me because I've always liked the idea of having both Gusto and James available on the same pitch, and obviously through injury, it's not been available. But yeah, I think yeah, seeing James at left back wasn't a problem for me. I was a bit worried at first because we haven't seen him there often, and I think Cuca was really shown that when he inverts compared to maybe Gusto doing it at right back, he is probably our best at doing that. So I was worried about the fact that we wouldn't have Cucurella to invert in the game. But James came in, done exactly that, and he was able to kind of distribute the ball over the top. Quite a few good lofted passes, which were really hitting the mark. Not all of them did, of course, but yeah, I think he played well, man. And for me, he just looks natural. He looks comfortable again. So yeah, I think it's been a bit of a revelation for us, because it just goes to show if we do get instances where maybe Cuckoo's injured or he's out of the pitch, or maybe Gusto's not available, then we've got options that can play both flanks as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a revelation, man.
I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you on that. I mean, for me, I don't think we should dive too much into the Cucurella saga. I don't even think that it's that deep. I think it was probably a tactical decision and maybe just tweaking as well, trying to experiment with Reece on the left side. I mean, Kev, what did you think about him as a left back? And also, what qualities do you think that he can use on that left side that maybe he wouldn't be able to do as much on the right? Is there anything that we saw and you think, oh, actually, I don't really see James do that too much on the right, but on the left, he does it a lot more?
It's not a natural position. It's not a natural movement for a right-footed player to be playing on the left. It was clear to see yesterday. One thing, Anthony Tequesta, one thing could say that he looked good at, he's whipping in balls, crossing in balls, or in-swinging balls from that left wing position. So the ball's coming in like an in-swinging position. But if you're asking someone to naturally play down the left side, they're not going to want to get on the overlap. They're not going to want to make that pitch wide. They're going to want to come inside, even though we know Maresca likes to play this inverted full-back stuff, what he's doing, but still, on the attack, you want your left back as wide as possible. You want your wide back getting down the flank and whipping the balls in. It's not happening on that left-hand side when James is there. I feel like with Cucurella, it doesn't happen when he plays down there. We haven't really got an attacking left back in this team.
That's the whole point, though, isn't it, Kev? He's supposed to invert.
Yeah. But against different opponents where they're going to be short, You want your left back overlapping and making the pitch big. So we haven't got that attacking outlet. What I'm trying to get to, Ben Chilwell was pretty good at doing it when he was fit, but he's obviously out the picture. Cucurella obviously is the best left back we've got in the team, but I just listened to what you said. I feel like with him trialing James at left back, I don't think that's the case. I feel like it was more like a rotational thing that he done there with Cucurella playing the 490 in the week. I feel like James had an opportunity to get some minutes in the legs and he came through. So maybe Cucurella will start on Wednesday at St. James's Park. But I still like that. If we're going to get rid of Chilwell, Viega needs to either step up and take that second spot, or we need to look to get an attacking left-footed player because we need that width on that left-hand side. It's very vital now with this new style of football. You need a left back that's going to get up and down that pitch and keep the pitch wide. You don't want your players coming inside and crossing the ball like James did yesterday.
Unlimited Dreamer?
I would say that James did really well in a position where he hasn't played in, and like I feel like he could if Maresca puts him in that position, we'll say like maybe in when he is available, do 2 games a week, yeah. Maybe in one game, maybe in the Europa Conference League, he'll put him there. It's like maybe in the games that are not really that important, say like, or games that we should be dominating, he might test Reece James out of left back side. Obviously, maybe to rest Cucurella, or to maybe like strategically say like, oh, Cucurella, you're going to be playing in the cup game. We need you in this cup game against Newcastle. So we're going to put Reece James at left back, but don't worry, you'll come on off the bench for a little bit of minutes, so you don't feel that you haven't played that many. Something like that. It could have been that. But I would say mostly for someone that's going to be at the left, for Gusto, James, Cucurella, Vega as well, I feel like more like for Maresca, they're gonna be like inverting into the midfield to make sure that Caicedo isn't left alone. And then like Lavia or wherever Lavia is, yeah, or Enzo in that position, they can bomb forward and they don't have to feel like stressed out, like, oh god, I've left Caicedo open, just him to defend. I feel like we don't need that fullback to go and overlap because like we've got like Palmer, Lavia, or Enzo to come in, and they could, if they just, obviously Enzo, I don't think he does it much, but if they just think, okay, let's overlap the wingers like both sides because they're free to roam around and go and attack. So if they can, do like what the fullbacks do, like go past the winger, and then they can pass it through, like invert through there and cross it in. I feel like that's what's happening. I think Enzo Maresca just wants to be defensively stable, but obviously the players right now haven't had that much time like to play fully together in games because this is the first season. Like we're constantly seeing Fofana and Colwill together. Like this season, they're doing really well, and I feel like if they continue the chemistry, if they do better, it'll be great. But with Reece James, I would say like a 8 out of 10 performance.
It's interesting. You say Fofana and what's his name? Colwill. You say they're doing really well. I mean,
it might.
When was the last time we got
at the amount. They're like, no, I'm just saying, at the amount that they're doing right now at the time, like they have to build the chemistry because like, who do you want to rely on with Colwill and we've got Badiashile. Yeah, he's starting to improve. I want to see a couple more games where he gets better. If he does, then yeah, I would take Badiashile over Fofana. But Disasi, I wouldn't partner Disasi with Colwill.
Right. Okay. I'm with you. Simon, good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the chat. I mean, we're going to talk about Fofana and Colwill now. I mean, what's your thought on that pairing, and how do you think they did against Newcastle?
I mean, I think they're definitely the best pairing we have, given the center backs that we have on hand. And I mean, I thought they played pretty well against Newcastle, but if I have to be honest, between the two of them, it's definitely Colwill over Fofana. Fofana, you could put some of it on Sanchez for sure. He definitely does not look as secure when Sanchez is back there, but I just haven't been fully convinced by him yet this season. So as he's definitely going to work for us this season, given just the options that we have on hand. But moving long term, if we don't see improvement over this season, then you might have to think about bringing in some kind of veteran backup a la Thiago Silva to kind of fill that role while we wait for someone like Gilchrist, or if they sort out the Achempong contract situation, like Achempong to develop, or break the bank for a Bastoni type that also has that ball playing ability.
I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, we have players that we signed. Badiashile is more of a left-sided centre-back, so I don't think you'll probably see him starting on the right. I think if he ever does come into the team, it will, well, instead of Colwell, it would be when Colwell's injured. And then Disasi doesn't have enough pace. It doesn't work when Disasi's in the team. And which is a shame, because I quite liked him under Poch, but I don't think he suits Maresca's I don't think he suits that system whatsoever. It's just unfortunate, isn't it? So then it does leave you with the possibility of having to go in the market. I mean, you've got Tosin. He didn't have a great game against Liverpool. Do we see Tosin, in the next game against Newcastle away from home? Simon?
I mean, I think we probably do, because Maresca's been very good both about keeping some stability within the first team and also keeping stability within the, I guess, quote-unquote B team. So I would most likely see Tosin come in with Badiashile, because Badiashile has been on a run of a couple good games. You'd definitely like to see that more out of him. The interesting thing that I'd think about for that next game against Newcastle would be what that midfield 2 is going to look like, because it seems like Maresca, given that everyone's fit now, like Enzo's kind of dropped into that role with Drewsbury Hall.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what that's going to look like and how that's going to continue, especially because, one of the things that Maresca said, or one of the things that they said when Maresca was brought in, was that he's going to find a way to work out that Caicedo-Lavia double pivot. But it seems that since Lavia's come back, Lavia's almost superseded Enzo and taken that starting role with both of them available.
I'm with you. I mean, it would be interesting to see what happens on Wednesday. Definitely. I did expect a totally different lineup for this game. So whether he's going to go with another strong 11 or rotate entirely, almost like we see with the Conference League, will be interesting. I mean, what's your take on Fofana and Colwell? I mean, I agree with a lot of what Simon said. I always pick Colwell over Fofana. Anyone who watches the channel, I'm not Fofana's biggest fan. I think he's a good player, but I think he's totally overhyped. And people talk about the fact that he's been injured, so he deserves some patience. What did you do before, when you weren't injured, to make me think, okay, you're entitled to have a bad period? Because I look at Gusto, for example, who people said hasn't been very good. And I think, well, it's not been that bad. I'll give that guy some patience. He was great last year. But I don't have the same feeling towards a player like Fofana. I mean, do you think we stick with him? Is he good enough? And,
it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because how you feel about Gusto, I agree, but I feel exactly the same about Fofana. And it's the injury, man. Like, although he hasn't warranted this patience that everyone's expecting, I think individually you can see he's got quality. He's solid. He reminds me a bit of Gabriel for Arsenal a little bit. He's a bit of a no-nonsense defender. He's physical. He's strong. He gets his head on the ball, and he's younger, right? So he's still got bags of potential, a lot of development to do. But the injury is obviously going to be hindering his confidence. He's still got a way to go. I think more importantly, though, for me, I think the partnership with him and Colwell was good, and it's going to work out for us. I think Simon said a minute ago, in our team at the moment, we haven't got a better partnership than Colwell and Fofana. I think that's the reality of it. I think when Tosin comes in, you can see there's a bit of a drop off. Disasi as well, who, as you mentioned, is a left-sided centre-back, so he won't go in there. So yeah, I just think it's a patience thing. I think as they're playing on, and as we continue to get more confident, maybe a better keeper in and around them, the right players to the left or right of them, you'll begin to see that, the two of them are really going to work out. But it's chemistry building. It will take time. What are we? Not even 10 games into the season yet. So yeah, man, I'm confident about Fofana. I think a lot of hype he gets, a lot of stick he gets, is just down to his one or two moments. But if we're being honest, if you take those moments out of the game, I think for the most part, he looks pretty solid. He looks pretty decent. And it's not every game he's, it's not like Sanchez where every game he's doing a madness and you're looking at it like, why the hell is this guy playing? With Fofana, for the most part, he looks decent. He looks like he fits in. It's just the one or two moments which need to get coached out. And the thing is, we've seen it with other players as well. Like we've seen with Mudryk, for instance, for most parts of the game, he doesn't look as bad, but it's when he does that one madness and he tries to cross it, or I don't know, he tries to take his man and he runs off the pitch. You're thinking, gosh, this guy's horrible. And so again, it just needs to be coached out, I think. So yeah, man, it's a patient thing for me, but yeah, I like Fofana, and I think him and Colwell are solid, man. They're spot on.
Do you agree with that, Kev? You're on mute, Kev.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Mute button. The mute button's great.
You keep doing it. You're pissing me off, bro. I'm joking. Yeah. Yesterday they look good. I think for Fofana especially, putting his body on the line a couple of occasions. I think he picked up a bit of a knee injury, and we was all hearts are pounding at that moment, thinking, it's that reoccurrence of that ligament injury he had last season. But yeah, he came back into the game and came strong, and they're both very similar in the way they play. One's left-footed, one's right-footed, and they both see each other play. I think Colwell likes to drop deep and likes to play passes, where Fofana likes to push up and squeeze on, do the physical work. Where Fofana likes to sit and dictate, and I think they suit each other's play very well. So yeah, it's good to see them both firing. Good to see Fofana also not injured and fit. But tossing, I think if it wasn't for that Liverpool performance, he'd probably be in with a shirt as well. I think up until that Liverpool game, he was one of the centre backs where I thought he could have a decent little spell, but the Liverpool game didn't do him any justice. But he comes into the Newcastle game on Wednesday. I'm sure he'll start, and he's got another chance to prove himself again. So I think Newcastle will change things around massively. I think it'll be probably tossing and Badiashile. Badiashile played well midweek against Panathinaikos, played well against Liverpool. So maybe a tossing and Badiashile with Disasi on the right. Well, I wouldn't want to see Disasi right back. Maybe Gusto right back and Cucurella left back. I feel like that would be a decent back four. Gives everyone an opportunity to prove herself, and let's see where that takes us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you with the tossing thing. I mean, I said from the beginning tossing instead of Fofana. People say Fofana's a better player when he's at his best. Why do I never see him at his best then? And that's the problem that I have. And it's not his fault he gets injured, but he does. So, that's the reality of it. But yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, if Tosin has a good game against Newcastle, he's certainly in for a shout for that first team. Because he had one bad game, and then people going, well, he's not good enough.
No,
Fofana's not.
It puts him back into contention. Like everyone's, like we said at the start of the Newcastle game, everyone's fighting for the shirt. Even Palmer is playing for his shirt. But when you put in a performance like he did yesterday, I think that cam roll's already been sussed out. I don't think there's anyone going to take that shirt of Palmer. But everybody in this team should be playing for the shirt now, and this is the good thing about having depth. If someone doesn't put in a good performance, they get dropped. And we were saying we're shouting for Neto to get some game time. I feel like Sancho didn't have a good game against Liverpool, so Neto had a good game. He came off the bench and he started. It's only fair. I feel like Madueke didn't have a good performance yesterday. I think he's very, very close to getting dropped himself. So everybody's position should be, if you feel like you can have inconsistent performances or drop your performance level, someone's going to come and take your shirt, and that's how football should be. So it's good to see that everyone across the board now within the squad have to step up their performances to keep the shirt.
Yeah, Dial, do you have a reaction to that?
No, do you know what? I was agreeing almost, because I think you're right. The Liverpool performance didn't help Tosin, didn't help Sancho, and completely agree. It's nice to see that they've lost their spot. Kind of disagree with Kev about Madueke, but we'll get to the Madueke segment. I can't wait for that because
we got time.
But no, do you know what though? Yeah, I agree. Listen, we've got a big squad. We all knew what we was getting into this season, And I think if we're gonna, which we're not, but if we're gonna kick up a fuss about players getting dropped on bad performances, then we're supporting the wrong team, because it's literally going to happen this season. We've got too much options, and we've clearly got a manager who's got the balls to make the decisions. So yeah, so I think so far so good with this back line. But up until things, you know, don't go our way, then we should expect to see some changes for sure, man.
I'm with you. Unlimited Dreamer, what do you make of Gusto on the right hand side? We all thought he was going to be on the left, but he was in his normal preferred position. Were you happy with what you saw from him?
He did all right. I'll say he did all right. And like, obviously I'll be honest, he is in a little bit of poor form, but like every player, that happens to everyone. And it's like, I would say if I think in the next PL game against United, I'm just saying that right now against United, obviously we've got Newcastle, because I feel like Gusto will be playing against Newcastle, because it'll be like maybe the sign that it will be like, all right, Cucurella saved you up. You're playing left back against Newcastle, but you're also going to be playing against United, because then Reece James might be coming back to the right back position.
I'm with you.
And then Gusto, like they said about Tosin and Sancho losing their spot, I feel like that's what probably might happen to Gusto when he's just like not in the best form. And when you see Reece James there now, there's competition back for right back again. And Disasi can't do it. He's like basically gone from the right back contention now, thank God. So yeah, I would say Gusto did okay. It's just we like, I think everyone here would agree, we expect a little bit more.
Okay. A little bit more in what sense though, Unlimited Dreamer? Because I'm looking at Ardy Talks, for example. He's saying
I would
he needs to chill out and remember he's a defender and he needs to defend. I mean, is that what you're referring to, or is there another aspect of his game?
I would say he's like sometimes. I'll say sometimes. Most times he can do really well. He was doing really well, but there are sometimes like inconsistency, like that cross, you know, the goal we conceded. Like, right. He could have probably either communicated with a defender saying, go after him if he runs past me, because I'm trying to block the ball for the cross or something, or if it was like,
I don't know if he's got enough time to say that, but I understand what you mean.
I know, but there's also where I think you saw he had a shot and he scuffed it. Like, if you're like an inverted fullback and you're going to go in, you need to improve your shooting, because if you're going in there and you've got a big chance, take that shot and just at least work the goalkeeper.
I'm with you.
I wouldn't mind if even if it was a scuff shot on target, just test the goalkeeper, because you don't know what kind of form he'd be in a game.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, CJ, I know you've not been impressed with Gusto this season. Do you think it was an improvement yesterday, or are you still not very satisfied? CJ? Let's try you, Simon.
You know, I agree with a lot of what was said. He was playing Lewis Hall onside when Newcastle scored their first goal, and he definitely does need to improve his shooting. He doesn't have a goal yet in a Chelsea shirt, and yes, he's coming in at the fullback, but we've seen, you know, when he's had those kind of chances fall to him, like the 4-4 against Manchester City last season, when the ball's come to him in a good position, he's just fluffed his line. So he does need to improve in those aspects. But I think the biggest difference I've seen in his game, like between this season and last season, is that like both the volume and the quality of his crosses has gone down, because he was never as good a crosser of the ball as Reece James, but we're not seeing that from him. And really from, you know, most players in this team. Cucurella doesn't really have that in him that much. And Madueke and Sancho, who started most of the games, are both much more direct kind of wingers and don't put those kinds of crosses in. But that's something that's in Pedro Neto's game, which is part of the reason that Neto, I think, is performing so well in the other competitions. Part of the reason that he's come in here, because he does have that ability and he will put in those balls and he will make those runs and drive end line, which is part of what Mudryk is doing as well. So, I mean, on the Pedro Neto note, I was surprised that he ended up starting on the left, because like Maresca, it was either after the second or third game of the season, like he laid out where he saw each player. He's like Madueke and Neto on the right, Sancho and Mudryk on the left, Palmer and João in attacking midfield, and Jackson and Cuckoo as strikers. And so far, Neto on the left has been the only kind of inconsistency between that and this, but clearly it's been working out. So
yeah, I mean, I do think that I'll come to you in a second, Kev. I do think that I don't think Maresca likes crossing into the box as much as Pochettino, because he's looking to build in a different way. But it is good to have that variety. And I think even if you look at Man City, Arsenal, teams that like to play, Liverpool love whipping balls in as well. You know, you can certainly have that in your arsenal, but you've also got to you've got to play the way that ultimately the manager wants you to play. And I don't think Maresca's keen on just getting the ball in there and whipping it in. I think he wants a real systematic approach. But I do agree that Neto whips more balls in than the other wingers. I think Madueke is getting better at it. I think he's doing a little bit more. I think he's slightly less selfish in recent games, if you ask me. But still, his decision making needs to improve. But I understand where you're coming from. You wanted to say something, Kev? Sorry.
No, you've just taken the words out of my mouth, so I'll just carry on.
Sorry.
Ask me a question after when I've remembered what I was saying. Yeah, probably in regards to Madueke. Yesterday, just frustrates me a little bit. I feel like he gets in the right positions, works the ball into the right positions, but final products, he either hits the ball at the keeper or overhits across his stall, finding that these inconsistencies are falling back into his game. I feel like we need to see a Neto on that right side, and I feel like we need to see either Sancho or Mudryk on the left. I feel like Madueke needs to step it up. I feel since that performance against Wolves, he hasn't done much for me to be saying that he's in contention to be starting every week. So we've got to keep these players on their toes. But I might be wrong. A lot of other fans will say that he's played good this season. But for me, I think from that Wolves game, he hasn't really done much. So I feel like Neto needs to be given more starts. Neto was probably our best player. Apart from Palmer, Neto for me was our best player yesterday, again, as well as the Liverpool game. So starting on his right side, I don't think he's a left winger. He wants to be cutting back in like a Madueke on that left foot of his. So let's see how the next few weeks cope. But it's good encouraging signs to see that everyone's on the toes, and I just feel like the players that have been brought in are going to keep the players that are starting there on the toes so they can step their performances up and start seeing some consistency. Because right now we don't want to take the foot off the gas. It was a good performance yesterday or overall, for difficult games coming up. Like I say, Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal are coming up over the next few weeks. It doesn't stop, so we need to see everyone firing. And you know, if one player or a couple of players are not firing in a team of 11, that could cost us points. So we need everyone to be stepping up and firing.
100%. I mean, yeah. I mean, Dar, what do you make of Madueke? And do you think we should persist with him, or is it time for him to have a rest and give someone else a go?
Do you know what I think? I think we can be harsh with Madueke because like there's definitely been a shift in his performances. So like, for instance, it's going to sound mad, but I think there's always been a bit of a witch hunt with Madueke since, if I'm honest, since that penny incident last season, right? I think there's been a certain part of our fan base which just refused to acknowledge that he's either good for the side and what he's doing is working, or that, albeit maybe his decision making isn't great, he's improving that. And I think yesterday's game, for me, I don't know how you saw it, Kev, but for me, yesterday's game, that was testament, right? So, for instance, you know, yesterday, I think in every instance he got the ball, barring one, he's cut back, he tried to put a cross into the box, he's picked someone out, he's passed it on the edge of the box, he's trying to find players to link up. Whereas a few games prior to that, you probably see him just get down the line, try and get into the box, and try and take his man on one-to-one. But even that's still criticised because the end product wasn't there, and maybe we didn't get the goal on the back of it. So I feel like, you know, he's definitely adapting his game according to the criticism he's maybe receiving, maybe instruction that he's getting from the manager. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. Neto for me he's putting pressure on him. Neto for me, as much as I'm saying this, at halftime I was calling for him to be subbed just because I felt like Neto was doing his thing. Maybe he should have moved over to the right hand side. So it's not to say that he's undroppable. I still think though that he's offering a lot more to this team than we like to think. And And he's adapting his game to do exactly what we're asking him to do, to pass the ball more because he's apparently selfish. But when he does that, it's, he needs to do more. It's not coming to anything. And I know it's not as simple as that, but yeah, I think there's definitely been a bit of a witch hunt with him. And I think we just need to remember that, listen, despite maybe his end products not being the greatest, for instance, that game he played against, I forgot, it was 2 games ago, I think it was, mate. And he was direct.
Liverpool.
No, not Liverpool. No, the game. I think it was
Forest.
a league game.
Yes, Forest.
Forest. Yeah, Forest. Thank you.
Forest.
That game, I think that was a game he scored the goal, right? Every time he got on the ball, he's direct. He's getting on the channel. He's trying to take his man on. And all I could see on the watch-alongs was he needs to pass the ball more. He needs to be better. He's selfish, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, we need to be careful what we wish for, because if you're going to kill a player's confidence like that, who is actively trying to get in the game and make something happen to affect the goal, then we're going to get results like we saw yesterday, when every time he got on the ball, you could see almost a bit of a timidness about him on the ball. He wasn't as direct as you would like him to see. The normal Madueke for me is what you call the 1v1 demon, right? He gets his man on, he runs at his man. He didn't do that often yesterday. Every time he got on the ball, he was looking to make a pass in field. So I think we're going to kill his confidence and kill the player in him that there is, rather than we just need to kind of encourage it, man. So that's me for Madueke. And I like the guy. I think he's not undroppable. Neto probably should have played there ahead of him. I think Modric deserves to start as well, given his performance in the conference. But yeah, like I said, man, I don't think it's all as bad and doom and gloom as we make out sometimes of him. But yeah, it's my opinion, man.
Yeah, well, I do think that Modric will probably start on Wednesday, which is why he didn't start on Sunday. Who do you think starts on the other side? So if we've got Modric on the left, do you think that Sancho on the right, or Sancho on the right?
Sancho. Yeah, I think it'd be Nkunku up top, Felix behind him, Sancho on the right, Modric on the left, which makes perfect sense.
Sancho is probably going to be he can't play against United over the weekend anyway.
Yeah,
and he hasn't really featured in the last 2 games.
Definitely so smart thinking and good rotational sense by Maresco again, to obviously not play him today because he's going to play a 490 in the week. And I feel like it'll be Caicedo and Enzo in the middle, Gusto on the right, Kukuran on the left, and tossing Badashile, well deserved. We have absolutely killed Badashile this last year.
No one else. Kev, when me and you did the watch along, man, for the Madrid, my days.
No one else more than me, But I say it for what it is, and when a player's playing as bad as what he's done, they need to be called out. So, all credit to him. I don't know where these performances come from, but he came on against Liverpool and he looked absolutely solid. So this is down to the manager. The manager's obviously give him the confidence. So Badashile, well deserved of the start. It'd obviously be Jorgensen in goal, and I thought that would be a solid team. That would be a solid as team as the team yesterday. And it's going to be a different game. No illusion. It's going to be. I think Newcastle are going to be coming all out to not one. They want to get the hands on the cup. 2, they've got the fans behind them. 3, they're going to want to get a bit of revenge for the game Sunday. So it's going to be a total different game. I feel like Modric and Sancho and then Nkunku will have a lot more space to get in behind. And we've seen that yesterday on a few occasions where we had a lot of opportunities to get in behind. Jackson, but for his goal especially, Dan Burn couldn't get nowhere near him because he was just too quick. So I feel like we're going to get opportunities to get in behind. So it's just down to us soaking up the pressure, hitting them on the counter, and then I feel like we'll get opportunities. So let's see how it unfolds on Wednesday.
Fair enough. Let's drop a little bit deeper because we went from Gusto to Madueke. Let's talk about the midfield as well.
Yeah.
Simon, what was your take on Caicedo? And then once you've spoken, we'll hear from CJ as well.
I thought Caicedo had a great game. He's honestly been immense this season. You can see why the club paid what they paid for him based on his performances this season. So he's been fantastic. Lavia's performance was good. I didn't think it was quite where it was compared to his other performances, but a slight dip to be expected. Over time, he's still working his way back from injury. Honestly, this is kind of the same as the center back pairing, where this is definitely the best based on how everyone is playing right now. This is definitely the best that we have. It just feels like, and to me, I've kind of always thought this: if we're able to get out of Enzo Fernandez, what of all people Graham Potter was able to get out of Enzo Fernandez, that would be the best midfield pairing that we could possibly have. But we haven't seen that version of Enzo's, since then. So this Caicedo Lavia pairing is definitely what we've got now. It's just up to Enzo Maresca to see what he can get out of Enzo Fernandez in these secondary competitions.
CJ?
I do like the balance from Lavia and Caicedo. These are two guys who, defensively, when you look at the aspect of the game, they can carry out their responsibilities, and then they can also pass the ball forward as well. So you're not losing, as much when you have these two guys playing. Lavia can play those line breaking passes. So can Caicedo, evident against Liverpool. I think Enzo right now would just have to be that third option when either of these guys do need a rest. Not saying Enzo cannot play in this team, because I've always said his strongest position is just playing him deeper in midfield. Don't have him running up and down. I don't think he has an engine for it. But consistency-wise and just stability-wise, Caicedo, Lavia are our best pairing. If you take out Sanchez from that post and you bring someone solid, I think we see an even much better structural unit. I think these guys get through so much work in that midfield, tackling, interceptions, and still have the ability to pass the ball forward. And I'm just praying, Lavia stays fit for the season. If he needs an ankle, hamstring, listen, bro, I think I got two he can have, because that's how important these guys are to this team. For real,
Hey,
for real.
listen, man, I'm with you there. I mean, if we have a bad injury, it's not just Lavia though. I mean, this could happen in a number of positions, and it changes everything about the way that not the way we want to play, because we always want to play the same way, but it restricts the way we can play, because what Lavia does is totally different to what Fernandez does.
Yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to talk on the Noni thing real quick. I know you guys talked about it. It's just, for me, as much as you could be dangerous on the flanks, you have to make the right decision when the time comes down to it. And that's all I ask about Noni. Don't be shy. Take on your man. But if you can just have that final ball, that final pass, that shot, as long as it's effective and it doesn't really affect us negatively, I'm good about that. But just back to the midfield, I think, look, this is the best we have. Enzo, Lavia, and Caicedo. So it's just keep them fit, rotate them as much as possible, and I think we would be in the top four. That's still the goal, and these two guys will go a long way for us to get there. So yeah,
I'm with you. Unlimited Dreamer, what's your take on the midfield?
To me, this is the perfect pairing that we can have, really, through the options that we have. But the options that we have for the B teams actually pretty good as well for the cup games and maybe for the Europa Conference League. Like Lavia, Caicedo, they just work really well. I think they just know in training, they know what each other do now. Like after a couple of games or training sessions they've been in for quite a few weeks or a month and weeks. They've actually started to bring in a great chemistry. Lavia, I think Isak made a mistake for Palmer's goal, and Lavia is the one all right, let's just get this forward. Don't go back. Don't go play safe. Get it forward. Palmer's open. He could be through on goal. Lavia is the one that got the ball quickly because he was being pressed by a Newcastle player. Caicedo, as expected, what we paid for from Brighton. He's getting to his element. He's actually doing great interceptions, getting the ball up quickly. I can say nothing wrong about this pairing.
I'm with you there. I'm with you. Listen, guys, we've got to get up to 50 likes. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people are watching on Twitter, but if you're watching on YouTube, we're on about 30. Let's get up to 50, guys. But we have got almost 500 people in the building. I don't even know if you can like things on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. But whatever you can do, thumbs up, whatever, it all helps. So big up to everyone in the chat. Let's get up to 50 and let's keep pushing as hard as we can. Dial, I mean, when you look at the midfield, do you feel like there is anything that Enzo Fernandez does that we don't already have with Caicedo or Lavia, or do we have to adjust our game with and without having Fernandez?
Yeah, do you know what? Like, I think the obvious one is obviously his ability to play a ball in behind. He's probably got better vision than most of them. But I think what we saw yesterday definitely counteracts that when you've got James stepping into the midfield and doing exactly what Fernandez does. Also, what we've seen in the Conference League as well is Vega has brilliant passing in from behind. We've seen Colwell's got really good, passing that can break through the lines as well. So we're not short of options in that position of the pitch, in that number 6 role where our defenders, Reece James can step up, Vega can step up and then play those passes in behind. Hell, we've even seen Cole Palmer do that recently where he drops deep and then plays that ball as well. So yeah, whilst individually Enzo has that in his locker ahead of Caicedo and Lavia, I don't think we're desperate for it if he's not in the team. The only other thing that I've mentioned as well that kind of stood out to me of yesterday's game was you can see there's a real trust between Caicedo and Lavia, whereas often I think what we'd see is Enzo playing alongside Caicedo, and rather than just play it into Caicedo where you might have a man in behind him, he'd opt to do that ball in behind and almost a Hollywood pass, or even vice versa. Maybe Caicedo wouldn't play the pass into Enzo because he might have a man on his back. Whereas you can see between Caicedo and Lavia, they've got 100% trust in each other. Whether there's a man on their back, they know they're going to play the ball, with the right weight on it, and they know it's going to be received. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from yesterday's game for me. And yeah, like everyone said, I think this is definitely our strongest double pivot for sure.
Do you think that we'll see Vega starting in the midfield against Newcastle? Bearing in mind we didn't start Cucurella, so he'll probably just be as a left back.
I mean, no. I don't think he will. I know he's crying out for game time, but I don't think that makes sense. We've already got enough options in the midfield. I don't think we need to put Vega in there as well. I think Vega, for me, he has to start left back and then maybe invert at best. But yeah, he's not going to start in the midfield, no way.
Do you agree with that, Kev?
Yeah, I thought that Cucurella needs to start. I feel he needs to start and a good performance because he's had a couple of games out now. So obviously he played midweek. Let's see how he copes on a Wednesday night.
I'm talking about Vega though, Kev, because the only reason I mentioned it is because obviously he inverts anyway. So yeah, does it? I don't know. Does it seem like a strange idea to start him in midfield?
Possibility of him in Enzo, but I still feel like we need that solid, secure Caicedo, Enzo. That structure. I don't feel like Viega is a natural centre midfielder. He's a natural left back. And what we don't want to be doing is getting too confident and ahead of ourselves. We all know this Newcastle game is going to be very difficult, and it's a game that we need to win. It's as important as the game which just gone Sunday, in a sense where it's still up for grabs. So we need to go out of our strongest lineup possible. I feel like Viega is way more suited to the left side than the centre. But with that in mind, it's down to tactics. It's either Marescos feels like which is the best option. But Cucurella has to start for me, so it has to be Caicedo and Enzo in the middle.
Fair enough. And we'll move on to the left side of the left wing. Pedro Neto, a player who was signed, and when he was signed, we said to ourselves, finally, a proven player. I think he was one of those signings we brought in, and we said, you know what? It's not another 15-year-old from Brazil, although we haven't got any playing for us right now. We will in the future. But a ready-made player, ready to come in and make an impact straight away. What do we make about his start to life at Chelsea, Simon? And do you think he's improving each game?
Well, I mean, he's had a fantastic start to life at Chelsea so far, especially because he didn't even come into the first team really to begin with. He's had to sit behind Madueke after Madueke's great performance at Wolves, and he's had to work in these secondary competitions in the League Cup and in the Conference League, and he's really moved to earn this starting spot. And I can say definitely, yeah, his performances are getting better and better. In addition to being just as direct and having Mudryk's level of quickness and pace, that ability to take on his man, to drive in line, to put those crosses in the box. One of the biggest things I think he brings to this team is strength, because I mean, I hate to say it, but there are some players in this team that you would kind of categorize as, a bit soft. They may go down a bit too easy. They may, because I mean, we led the league in yellow cards for a reason. It's a combination of dissent and just a lack of a spine in some players, and Neto definitely does not have that problem.
Any players in particular that you think have that problem?
I mean, from this game, the two that come to mind are as good as a player as Nkuku is. That pen was not a pen. I mean, he went down soft, and continually you see him kind of trying to get that soft contact and going down, and he doesn't really win headers. I mean, you wouldn't expect a player of his profile to win that many headers, but even then you expect him to be a bit stronger there. And then Fofana got bowled off the ball for Isak's big chance, and you felt like he was asking for the foul there rather than actually being, pushed off.
That's just modern day football, though, isn't it?
I mean, there's an element of it too.
That's the sad. Everyone just dives on the floor. I mean, I completely agree with you, but that's just every team does it. So if your team does it and you win a penalty, then you're happy, aren't you? Well, I certainly am.
I mean, but definitely, I will say the game's gone in that direction over the course of the years. But even Chelsea teams of the recent past had more of a strength to them. You can go back to the 2010s teams with the players like Diego Costa would never throw himself down like that, and certainly no one in our back line in 2017, that last title-winning team, and then even the Champions League winning team of 2021. There's no way I'd see Rudiger get shoved off a ball like that by Isak.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you then.
I think they can find a better balance there.
Fair enough. And I mean, Unlimited Dreamer, do you think that Neto's cemented his place as a starter in the A team at Chelsea, or is there still a point to prove?
I would say it's still too early to say if he's guaranteed to just be in the 11 for the Premier League right now. He's every challenge he's been in is it's going up and up and up and improving a lot and a lot and a lot. And like in the game Newcastle, he got it by performing every game that he was given. Even if it was just maybe some cameo off the bench in the PL, he did try to do something with the amount of minutes he got. And it's the game against Panathinaikos just basically cemented that in a way, because he is going against his man, and he's getting these sometimes these crosses in, but sometimes when you've seen him, he does try and get in the box and try and make something happen, like passing it into the box or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And with Neto, he is so versatile. He can play at the right or the left. No position is safe when it comes to the wings with Pedro Neto, where he can play both sides. And we're getting the Pedro Neto, I've watched the fan cams and all like that. We're seeing the Pedro Neto that we are getting that he was terrorizing against us when he was at Wolves. He was terrorizing our defense. He was terrorizing them. He kept just going on all right, can you beat me? I'm going to keep coming at you unless you can beat me and then make me change my mind to go back. We're getting that Neto slowly but surely. And also what I love about Enzo Maresca, he is easing the injury-prone players. It's I am not going to stress your bodies out. I'm letting you have some game times as long as we don't see that injury-prone player. And when he feels confident that all right, we could play 2 games. You could play 2 games, say midweek and the weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
It's it's just going so far so good for Pedro Neto, and I hope it continues.
There you go. I mean, Kev, do you like what you're seeing from Neto? I mean, me personally, I pick him ahead of Madueke. I thought he deserved to start this game ahead of Madueke, but we put him on the left side. They're both together. It's a different balance to what you have when you have Sancho on that side, because I'd say Neto's more of a runner.
Direct.
Yeah, definitely very direct. Is it a good balance? I mean, we did end up winning the game, or would you rather Neto on that right-hand side, maybe playing with another winger like Sancho or Mudryk?
It keeps everybody. I think everyone needs to be on their toes now, especially in the wing position. Let's say throughout the team, the wing positions are probably the most overloaded, and we've got the most quality in those positions. So everyone's on their toes. But the one player that's really stuck out for me the last few weeks has been Neto. So Neto has to start in front of all of them. I think it's just a toss-up between Madueke, Sanchez, and Mudryk. And Mudryk, let's be real, his performances are getting better and better. An assist and a goal in the week as well as other good performances prior to that as well. So everyone's on each of us toes. So I feel like Neto has to be the first one on that sheet, and whoever he feels like is suitable for the other ones. But when you talk about balanced, Neto is very direct compared to a Mudryk, a Madueke, and a Sancho, who are a bit more calculated, take a touch, a bit of skill, and then cross. Neto doesn't hesitate. Neto, he just looks, bang, instantly gets that ball in the box. And that's the difference between him and the rest of the players. He's a level ahead. He's our best winger for me, Neto. He's just a quality player. And I feel like it's good what the lad at the bottom said, that he hasn't been rushed into it. I feel like he was very, very, very injury prone at Wolves, and that was my concern. A lot of my friends are saying, Kev, obviously me being from Wolverhampton way, a lot of my friends are saying, look, Kev, Neto is a good signing, but he won't last 2-3 games. And I says, look, we're not Wolves. He's not the key man. We can slowly embed him. We can slowly bring him into the team and not put pressure on him like if he's at Wolves, the whole team is dependent on him. It's not that case. We've obviously slowly brought him in, made sure that he's fully fit, and now coming into the Christmas period, and he hasn't had an injury yet. So we can now see a Neto, a top form Pedro Neto in a Christmas period, and it's going to be a headache for most defenses because the guy's quality. And so I feel like Neto has to start, whoever else after.
I'm with you there. I mean, it's interesting just talking on the point of fitness. If you look on here, you've got Pedro Neto, you've got Lavia, James, Fofana, 4 key players for us at the moment. And yeah, I mean, they've all had serious issues with injuries in the past. I did a show this morning. I highlighted Pedro Neto's injury record last year at Wolves. He was injured half the season. And we don't want that to happen. So you have to find the balance between, okay, obviously we're going to try and win this game, so we'll play our best players, Neto being one of them at the moment, but also finding the balance and sometimes accepting that if you play Neto every week, he's going to get injured. It's the same with James. It's the same with Lav. It's the same with Fofana, based on what we've seen in the past. So that's where the depth comes in, and we've got plenty of it. But this is where we have really interesting conversations as well, because up until this point, I didn't really question that much of what Maresca's done. And now this is the point where I'm not saying he's making the wrong decisions, but you have to ask some questions. And also, sometimes you ask the question and the point gets proved based on what you see anyway. I mean, why the hell is Reece James playing as a left back? Well, we saw why. And then why are you dropping Enzo Fernandez? We can clearly see that Lavia is a better player in that position at the moment. So it's good because there's a lot of talking points. And I think Enzo is... it's a tough job, man, because you've got so many players to juggle, but credit to him. I think he's on top of it. And actually the players seem to be improving, even with limited game time, a lot of them as well. Even with the little stints, I do feel like they are getting better and better each week. I mean, CJ, just before we go on to Palmer and Jackson, I mean, do you have any thoughts on Neto?
With Neto, like I'm very happy with Maresca just managing his minutes as much, because even before we signed him, one thing we knew about this guy was his ability to be unavailable, and that's in terms of injuries. You could probably tax that down to when you play for Wolves and you're their best player, you're always going to be rushed back, because without you, it just looks like it's going to be a sinking ship. But at Chelsea, you have options. You have people who can play ahead of this guy. You're managing his minutes, and you're keeping him available. You're keeping him fit. And if you have to play him, once a week till, I don't know, the end of the season, then do that. You want to be able to get 25 games out of someone like a Neto, 25, 30 games. You want to get, the quality that he has, and that's the most important thing. He has the ability to deliver. So if you have to wrap him up in cotton wool sometimes, you do that. I'm happy with his contributions to the team so far. I've always wanted to see him start on the right, but if I have to see Noni, play more than Neto just to have Neto more available for the season, I'm okay with that because they both offer me something positive to the team. So I'm not going to complain about that, to be honest.
That's fair enough. Right, let's move on to oh God, what a beautiful. I got to play the clip again. I did it earlier. I've got to play it. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you're about to find out. I've got to play it. This makes me very happy. Just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Here we go. All right. Again. Zola, what did you think about the game today? Were you happy with the performance?
What is this?
Chelsea Fan TV. We're a fan channel. Did you enjoy the game?
Yeah, very much.
Favorite player today? Who was your man of the match?
No, was the man of the match. Number 20.
Number 20.
Yeah.
And also, we went to your the meetup you had in. Oh God, where was it, Nina? The meetup that you had where you took pictures with people and then you spoke.
Yeah.
Where was that?
I don't remember.
Fair enough. Well, good to see you anyway. Thanks for stopping by. Number 20.
Number 20.
Oh, what a beautiful man. Not just Zola. Cole Palmer, number 20. I'll tell you what. That was a beautiful moment. Zola's a lovely bloke. He's lovely. And he didn't have to stop and speak to us, but he did. And big up to Gianfranco Zola. I met him in the summer with Nina. We did a meet and greet with him and we took pictures. And he was nice then, but we didn't really get a chance to chat, if I'm totally honest. But it was very, very kind of him to stop. He got absolutely swarmed after that game. And to be fair, he just stood there for 10 minutes taking pictures. And big up to Gianfranco Zola, Chelsea legend, everyone. But a man in the myth, the myth, Cole Palmer, is here right now. And the way he keeps going, he will become a Chelsea legend. And that is not an understatement. That guy is on fire. He's smashing it. And the crazy thing is, it's not even the goal he scored that people are talking about. It's the assist that was never an assist. But it was so good it should have been. I mean, let's start with you, Dal. I mean, how do you not speak about Cole Palmer without mentioning Ballon d'Or? I mean, these are the type of words we're throwing around when we speak about this guy now. I know he's not going to win it this year, but I do think next year will be in contention. I think he's that good.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the saddest thing when you look at Cole Palmer, I think Kev said it earlier, is just the fact that poor João Felix, man. I don't know what Geezer's not getting in the team. And you know what's mad is I love Felix. He probably was I was the happiest that we signed him this window, just because I think although we didn't do great when he was here for that spell beforehand, you can see the quality. But I mean, the guy's undroppable. You don't drop Cole Palmer. There was a few games away. I think the Liverpool game, and people were saying Maresca should have dropped him. But it's I can see why you don't, because at any given moment you can come up with, if it's not a goal or an assist, it's a world-class pass, you know what I'm saying, or just some sort of contribution which no one else in the team can offer, no one else in the league can offer at this point. So I'm chuffed we've got him. I think we're blessed to have a player like that at the moment. And every game he's just literally just showing us that he is that guy, so man. I love him, man. Is
he the best player in the league?
For now, for me, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know there's a lot of comparisons of Saka and Haaland and what, and I think they're different players, but when you look at the consistency now, last season he was player of the season, young player of the season. This season has already started off in the same way that he finished. The small touches and behind players where, he's just class, he's just oozing class, man. So, by far the best player in the league for me.
What do you think about Cole Palmer, Unlimited Dreamer?
All I'll say is, it's like, I think the Premier League's getting cold.
Hey, there you go, man. I've got my radiators on. I'm cold.
Yeah, like Palmer, what a pre-assist. That was the best ball you'll ever see in the Premier League for a while. And I mean that, for a while. Maybe until October or February or March time, maybe, I'll say. But if not, then the best pass in the Premier League for this season.
There's only one player that does that, though, in world football that can do that.
Kevin De Bruyne.
No.
Messi.
It's right. Messi does that shit, man.
Like, that's the thing. Like,
Kev, do you not agree with that?
I would agree with it, because when you look at it, when I've looked back on everything, even Messi when he was an annoying player against Chelsea, he does drop deep and do those kind of passes and then try and quickly get into the attack. It's like with Palmer, you just like I said, you can't drop him. If you drop him, then the quality level of this whole team just goes down by like a couple of levels. Like,
you can't replace him.
Yeah, you just can't. And like about Felix, like I said, I feel sorry for him because he is a quality and good player. It's just that you can't drop Palmer when he had the season from last season and the season he is having now. And it's like the connection with him and Jackson is absolutely sublime. It's like I don't think they don't even need to look at each other. They just know what each other will do. It's just great.
Yeah, I mean, Simon, go on, mate.
Yeah.
And then Simon, you chip in after, okay?
Point like this, I think the levels that Cole Palmer has shown in the Chelsea shirt the last 2 years has been very high. And when he has a half bad performance, say, i.e. Liverpool, we get surprised and we're like, and we start questioning if he's off form. But I don't think on one occasion this guy has showed any bad form. He literally just makes the simple thing, the simple things look very simple and the hard things look very simple. Like yesterday again, little touch around the corner. He does this. He makes a player, or he'll do a good ball, or he'll put a good cross in the box, or he'll bang a goal in, or get an assist every single game, and he makes it look so simple. I think if this guy actually tried hard, he doesn't know the levels. If he tried hard, he doesn't understand the levels.
He does work hard.
No, he works hard. But I mean, if he just showed, like, because he's got his body language comes across as he's just a bit like, it's just the way he looks and that. But if he actually showed, he just comes across as someone just not asked. But he just does the fucking brilliant stuff so naturally. So, wow, what can we say? The guy's 22, I think he is. Wow, we have got 22. I'm sure he's.
Yeah,
someone in the chat.
He's so young. He's so young.
But
he's unbelievable, Kev.
Yeah, he's a special player, very special, and it's not because he does the amazing things every game. He just does, like yesterday. I do a lot of coaching. I always teach my kids this: when you receive the ball, always have a scan. The guy yesterday, you can see what he did. He scanned to look if the ball was going to play that way. He scanned there, and then when the ball came to him, he scanned again. Neto having the run, bang, played that ball through, and we got a goal from it. And it's just the simple things as a football player that makes him look good, and he does it week after week after week. There's not a week where he doesn't perform, apart from 1 or 2 games, but clearly our most consistent player, and we have got Cole Palmer for another 9 years. The heights and the levels, this guy is gonna break some records, and if not this year, then the year after, he should be a shout in the Ballon d'Or, because the stuff that he's doing cannot go unseen. Let's say.
Oh mate, he's unbelievable. Simon.
There's not that much more I can add. I mean, he's brilliant. He's fantastic. He's Chelsea's talisman. He should be England's talisman, and both teams will only go as far as he's able to take them. I mean, like the pass that he played against Newcastle in the last game, it was obviously incredibly impressive. But there was a similar one he played against Forest in the game at the end of last season. I think I watched like a 5-minute video breakdown of that pass alone, where he receives the ball, fakes the pass, looks off the fullback, then plays it through to Mudryk making the run, gets it perfectly onto Mudryk between Aina and the center back, and he's going for the goal. And I mean, you can make a 5-minute analysis of these passes, and he's doing it in his head in a split second. I mean, you can't teach what he's doing. It's pure football on an instinctual level that cannot be replicated and cannot be duplicated by any other player in the squad, which, you know, it's a shame for João Felix because he really did play well. And if it was any other position in the squad, he would have been in this Newcastle squad on the strength of that performance. But you can't drop Cole Palmer for any reason. You cannot drop Cole Palmer, even when he's off the performance of, you know, that Newcastle game where he wasn't at his best, because he's able to do something like this at any given time in a match. You cannot take him off the field. And, you know, you've also... I'm sorry, go ahead.
And the thing is as well, just going off that, he's so naturally fit. It's just like he's not going to get injured. I feel for Felix. Like, when is Felix going to get his opportunity in the Prem? It's not going to be anytime soon because this guy, he doesn't get injured. So... how is Felix going to get in the squad? I think Felix is going to be a cup player, unfortunately. But
don't jinx it, bro. Don't jinx it.
Where's the wood?
About to say they're putting some tackles on him now, but
he's touched the fucking wood. Touch that wood. Yeah, but what a proposition to have. You got Felix potentially coming in for Cole Palmer if he gets injured, and that's brilliant squad depth to have. You've got a world-class player coming in for a world-class player. So we have got an abundance of quality within this team, and it's shining through. It's shining through in the cup games. It's shining through in the league games. But we have to go and beat Newcastle. I feel like everything we've done up to this point doesn't matter now. Go to Newcastle. It's going to be a cold night. Me and Alex are going to be up there. It's going to be a cold Wednesday night. How many miles away from where we are? A lot of people staying over because it's hundreds and hundreds of miles away. Can Chelsea turn up and bring the goods on, because we need to get our hands on silverware. So everything we've done up until this point doesn't matter now. It's about how we go to Newcastle, put up a good performance, get the win, and we go to United on Sunday with the fire in our belly looking to get. Can you hear that? Is that me?
Yeah, that might be you, Simon. I just muted you.
Yeah. So get the victory on Wednesday. And that leaves us with another difficult game United. But I feel like there's the squad in general, the amount of players we've got, the quality, the depth. It's good thing to see. And it's the most important thing out of it all is we haven't got no injuries. So we're going into a Christmas period where it's 2-3 games a week. We've got so much players that we can rotate and keep fresh and keep everyone in total. So it's just good signs. Let's just keep this trajectory. Let's just keep this positivity, and let's beat Newcastle again on Wednesday.
Just to quickly say about the Christmas period you said, and mentioning about Felix, and 2 games a week. What I feel like what could happen is like Felix will get some PL games, maybe a start, because if you think about it, 2 weeks in there, we don't want to overexert Palmer like they do, like Arsenal do with Saka. So I feel like what Enzo might do, like not everything, maybe 1 or 2 games in December, Felix might get a start in a PL game. That's where I'm thinking he will be there and like get some good minutes there. Also, like, touch wood, I pray Palmer doesn't get injured. But this is the thing, what happens here. If the refs don't protect him, it's like the Hazard situation all over again. Where he just keeps getting knocked down and down and down. And then in due time, it's going to catch up to him. I just hope it doesn't happen.
That's fair enough. Well, listen, guys, I have 4 minutes and then I got a dip because I will be going live on Omely with Nina. So if you want to join me from about 3-ish, I will be on Omely with Nina. It's another sort of call-in show, so you can jump on and you can speak to us. All you have to do is download the app. There's a QR code on screen. There's also a link in the description. You can do it on iPhone, Android, anything. Me and Kev did a preview for the Newcastle game, so this will be more of a review with Nina. I'll be doing a couple of shows with Lewis and Charlie as well. So download the app, guys. It's really easy to do. It doesn't cost any money. It's totally free. And I hope to see you down there when we're done here. But listen, just before we go...
Just something that you can pay me as well, though, to jump on, because it's not the cost of thing.
Do you know? I think you're only allowed 2 hosts on there, Kev. I'll be honest, mate.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you can have more than 2. But I'll have
Oh,
to check.
So you're leaving me out? You're leaving me out?
Yeah, you can jump on, but you'll be a guest.
I'm not a guest though, brother. I've got fucking work rate, bro, man.
Oh, mate. Look, I'll sort you out, Kev. We'll figure something out. We've got to meet in the middle.
You fucking pay me. Pay me some dough. I'm joking.
Listen. So we've got 1 minute each, guys, before we round it out. First of all, guys, can we see if we can get up to 70 likes on YouTube? If you haven't liked the video already, please do. It makes a massive difference. On X as well. I don't know what you do on X. I'll have to actually figure that out. Do you like things? Something must help. So just a thumbs up or whatever it is. It makes a huge difference. It just shows me that you actually like what we're doing, and then it encourages us to keep doing it. So yeah, that would be amazing. And just before we round out, 1 minute each, guys, your thoughts on Nicholas Jackson. I will start with CJ.
Damn, Jackson, always improving.
Yeah,
definitely less frustrating as he was maybe in this first season, but that's given since it's your first time in England. It's a different culture, different setup. But I would rather go to war with a Nicholas Jackson than maybe like a Kai Havertz. I just think this guy just improves our team immensely. His ability to just hold up play, he makes us better. When Jackson is not in the team, you can see it, you can feel it, and long may this improvement continue. And I'm just loving everything about the guy, man. Hopefully he becomes a better gunman, but class signing.
fair enough. Simon.
So, like they said with Jackson, the link up and hold up play this season has been immense. And, we're yet to drop points this season because of a Jackson performance, which is not something that we could have said for a lot of games last season. He's been solid to great, and it seems that he's starting to sort out the 1v1 situation. He's adopted this kind of outside of the boot strike that he's starting to use, and as a result, he's converting these chances at a way higher rate. So if he continues to improve and he continues in this vein of form, then what he brings in his link up, when he brings with his physicality, is going to keep him in the team for the rest of the season easily. He's been great.
Fair enough. Kev?
Progression. Better this year. Better numbers. I think he has 9 already this year. Is it 9? 9 goals in the Prem?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not bad numbers at all. I think we're looking at probably the best striker we've had in a long time with Jackson. And very frustrating last year because he missed a lot of chances. And that kind of overlooked his numbers as well, which he had fairly decent numbers. But I feel this year we could potentially see 20 Premier League goals from him this year, and that's probably the minimal. So when is the last time that we've been saying that from a striker? I cannot remember the last time we had a striker with 20 plus goals in the season. So let's not put too much pressure on him. Let's just keep on backing him, keep on giving him confidence, and hopefully he can start picking the numbers up. And I think he was more of a 1 in 3 striker last year. Maybe he turns into a 1 and 2 striker this year and he gets better figures. But all in all, I'm very impressed with him. I think his work off the ball, goals unnoticed as well. He works extremely hard. He's very, very smart striker as well, with his running. Yesterday, a lot of strikers would have broke their back, but Dan Burn didn't even see him. He was nowhere near to be seen. Got into the box, got himself a tap-in. So his work off the ball is as good as the work on the ball. So let's see how it goes. But right now, he's doing the business. He's getting the goals, and that's all he needs to do as a striker for Chelsea.
Fair enough. Unlimited Dreamer.
All I'll say is big improvement from last season, and it just seems like it's just going to be getting all the way up from here now. And I feel like we're definitely going to see him break his goal involvements from last season way more improved. I'm going to probably see maybe 25 goal involvements in total, or maybe 30. So for me, the partnership with Palmer, perfect. Like, they know what to do with each other, even if they don't. I don't think they even have to speak with each other when they have to, communicate or get to combinations or anything like that. And I feel like Jackson will get that that connection with the two wingers at more and more after each game goes by. So yeah, Jackson, a 10 out of 10 for me when it comes to in the season right now.
Brilliant.
So long may it continue.
Long may it continue. Listen, guys, thank you so much, everyone on the panel, for coming on. Really appreciate it. Big up to everyone in the chat as well. We've got almost 600 people in total watching this stream over X and YouTube. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I will be speaking with Nina right now. So if you want to head over to Omelie, I've put a link in the chat. I've also put the QR code on screen. Download Omelie. Check it out, listen to the next conversation, and you can jump on with me and Nina and give your say as well. And as always, big up to everyone, and we will see you very, very soon. Up the Chelsea, and we'll be back next time.